Now, I typically try to keep my videos under 30 minutes, but this area needed a lot of work. So, come along with me, spend an hour or so with me to see how I cleaned this area up to get it to look like this.
Welcome to Plantress, indoor oasis. Let the wild come home, right here in this room. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get this started. I got some things that need some dead leaves cleaned up, some things that need tying up or pinning up because they're just way too wild. And we'll see what else these guys need out here today. Give me a little sippy sip of this sweet red right quick. Early on in the video, you'll hear some of the ambient sounds around the house, mainly the bird calls. It's one of the things that makes it a pleasure to sit out here. First guy I'm grabbing is this Pink Princess, and I know a lot of people have fallen out of love with Pink Princess because of the way she grows, but I myself am interested in seeing how I can grow her over time, because yes, she's gotten somewhat spindly, leggy, and seems a little sparse, but what I do, I have her on this cage, and as she outgrows this cage, I chop her top off. I do top cuttings. So I wait until she outgrows the cage by a good bit, then I'll take a top cutting. I'll take that top cutting and cut it up into single nodes, get them rooted up. Once I get them rooted up, they get potted back down into the pot. Now you can't see it well from here, but there's already several cuttings potted back down into that pot. So what I'm hoping to see over time is as they start to grow up, just like the mama plant, they'll fill in those areas where you don't see much. And after doing this, over the years, she'll eventually become a nice bushy plant. But this is what she looks like from the front. And don't be fooled by the shine you see on these leaves. Everything out here is dusty and crusty. Mostly from pollen season, which I have rinsed them down since pollen season started. But there was more pollen to come, so everybody's going to get a rinse down. Checking on my little props down in the bottom of there. Cut any dead matter out of her. We're going to move on to the next guy. That guy's just getting moved out the way. He just came out here today. And I'll be explaining what's going on with him in another video. Now here's my jungle boogie. My jungle boogie is also looking sparse, but I've taken so many cuttings from this jungle boogie just because it keeps climbing to the top of the cage that it's on. So you don't always need a moss pole for support. Sometimes you can just use a cage, which I have. And this is what he looks like from the front. It's about time I repot some of his cuttings back up into the bottom of his pot to have the same thing happen I'm trying to have happen with that Pink Princess. Now this top part is growing away from the cage, but it hasn't grown away from the cage enough to where I feel I need to pin it or tie it at this time, so I won't do that. I'll just remove any dead matter from it and then set it to the side until later when it gets cleaned with everybody else. And he's nice and moist, so I don't need to water him or anything. And he's all cleaned up, ready to get washed later. This is one of the problems I'm having out here. They're growing so wild, they're tangling up together. This is my restarted Thai constellation, and I am so glad I restarted her. Since I bought that plant, it held on to like 3 or 4 leaves, and it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't do anything for so long, and I finally just got tired of it when it started to lose one of those original 3 or 4 leaves and said, you know what, I'm chopping this guy down. And I did. I chopped it down considerably, just into cuttings. Potted them up in this vase with leca and some moss and completely restarted her. I will say most of her old leaves did die off. Sometimes when you change plants over to leca, it feels like, oh my God, what did I do? Because you'll see some things dying off. But I just kept the faith, kept watering her, and before I knew it, it was new leaf, new leaf, new leaf. So this is where she is now. Most of these are new leaves. I think that one leaf that's drooping down to the side is the one left over from the old leaves. Everything else in this vase is new. And she's so heavily rooted and happy in here. Big, thick, healthy roots. I know at some point when this jar becomes more root than anything else, I'm going to have to take her out of it. But for right now, while she's loving growing in this medium, I'm going to keep her there. And even when I do have to up pot her, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep her in leca just because she's done so well in leca. Those 2 leaves at the top came out around similar times. One's fenestrated, one's not. That's one thing with my monsteras. I can never predict their fenestrations. Next up is this bird of paradise, and as I'm picking it up, I'm noticing there's 2 petioles on here that are bent, somewhat broken, and I say somewhat because they're not like snapped off in a way where you can see the insides of the petiole, but they're definitely damaged. And I guarantee you that came from one of 2 things, either one of my grandbabies or the cats. I promise you. So, go ahead and clean her little dead leaf off. And then, look at that big, beautiful new leaf. It's so bright. I was noticing some markings on it, like some little tiny holes. I don't know if it just got stuck coming out or if that got something to do with one of the cats or grandbabies too, but either way, I decided I did not have the necessary tools out here to stent these petioles. I didn't realize I was going to have to do that, so I said, well, let me go run and grab it. See how I gotta move foliage all out the way just to get in and out of this area? I want to be able to just walk in and sit down. By the end of this video, I definitely will. So I got me 2 straws. Since they're the bendable straws, I'm cutting off the top parts of them. And in case you were wondering, I am just getting over an upper respiratory infection, so I may still cough a little bit, sneeze a little bit, sound a little congested, but that thing is running through my household right now, so. Now I got that straw in place to act as a stent, so you see that that leaf's not flopping over anymore. And it's time to get this guy situated. Had these snapped off completely, I would have been heartbroken, so I'm glad they're at a point where I can just go ahead and stent them. Mind you, I keep saying stent when one I meant was splint. For some reason, the word shunt and splint got mixed up in my head and became stent. Now this is what it looked like with both stents in place, all leaves standing up as they should. Now what I'm doing is getting out 2 pieces of twine because although those stints are in place, those birds of paradise petioles are a little thick going towards the bottom. And I want to make sure that those stints don't slide out of place. So I'm going to wrap them both in twine, like a true splint. And again, I'm sorry for all the heavy mouth breathing, but my chest is still not okay. But I was okay enough to get up out the bed and do this. Now you can see what they both look like, completely splinted up with the straws, and then the straws have been wrapped in twine. I'm just clipping off the little ends right quick. And this is the finished product. You can barely even tell those splints are there. And those petioles will heal themselves over time to where they'll get to a point where they won't even need the splint. But unless something comes up, I probably won't take them off anytime soon. Now next up is this comeback Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I don't remember what I had did wrong with it the first time, but it was down to just like 2 or 3 leaves. And me being me, I went on and propped those 2 or 3 leaves, got a good bit of roots on them, wait until they grew some more, and then I potted them all up. And this is the result. Now, it's growing nicely, but this long stem here, it's so long. I'm always a person that wants fullness first and then limb. This piece over here is kind of long too, but the way it's bent, I don't think I'm going to clip that one. At least not yet. This taller stem, I'm definitely going to go ahead and clip that, prop it up, and then plant the props back into this pot to help fill old girl out. And there's that cutting. Nice full cutting. I'm going to prop this into several different nodes. Go ahead and get them rooted up, and then I'll pot everybody back up into this mother pot. Next up is going to be my white wizard. Now my white wizard has been through the ringer. He's outgrown the cage I initially had him on. So I chopped him down a good bit, propped him up, got him back full, and then he fell. Somehow he fell off the plant shelf, broke everywhere. I salvaged what I could, potted it back up, and this is him now. Although if I'm not mistaken, I believe he fell a second time. He's been through it. He's been through it. But what I like about this white wizard is he's been hanging in there. Now I know you see all that green on him and not as much white. And again, his leaves look so shiny in this camera, but in real life they were dusty, crusty with the pollen like everything else. But I don't get the white wizard, pink princess, white princess hate. Yeah, they grow a little funny, but you can make a bush over time. You just have to be patient. But this guy has been like the most resilient for me. No matter what he's gone through, he's just been like, nope, I'm gonna grow. The first time he fell was because he was huge. He was so extremely top heavy that he kept tipping, and I thought I had it figured out, but I didn't. See all these new leaves coming in on this guy? He just keeps coming back. And since he's determined to hang in there with me, I'm determined to hang in there with him. Before I pick that sell 'em up, I'm taking my little dirt scoop and getting the spider webs off of them. Take me another little sippy sip because this big guy, he's a lot to handle. First of all, he's heavy. Second of all, he's all over the place. Look at him. Not only am I going to go through and clean up any dead pieces that I want to clean up, but I got to tame old boy because he makes it hard for me to even walk into this space because I don't want to break any of his petioles, and they reach everywhere. You see this? They really reach everywhere. Cleaning them up. And everything you see me taking off of these plants, any dead leaves or other dead matter, is going right into my compost bin, which is sitting right next to me off camera. That's where I'm putting everything into. Now I'm gathering him together to get his spread under control. I know a lot of people like that type of spread, which I do. I love his spread, I really do. Um, it's one of the things that and how huge these leaves get makes them one of my big guys. But I need this space to be a little. This is my relaxation space, my relaxation corner. I can come sit out here in the rain or on a sunny day with a glass of wine or a cup of coffee and just listen to the bird songs that you hear all throughout this video because they're very active, very active out here in the country. Not to mention some of the land that my house sits on is very wooded. It's heavily wooded, so I'll have deer in there, I'll have birds in there, XYZ. It just makes it a very peaceful, relaxing spot. But I don't want to break his petioles, and every time I come in and out of this area, I feel like I have to be super careful about that because he spreads everywhere. So I just need to tame him up a little bit. And trust me, I do this with this guy often, especially in the house when he's in the house for the winter. But he will still eventually find ways to spread again. It's just what he does. He's a spreader. And I've seen someone say before, because of that spread, um, it's hard to keep a solemn in the house, but not for me. In the house, I'll let him spread in a way where I can slide other smaller plants in between where his petioles are shooting from, if that makes sense. If you've seen him indoors during the winter in any of my videos, then you kind of know what it means. That whole corner that he typically sits in the wintertime is like my little jungle corner, and you'll see his leaves just randomly spurting out in various places in that corner. And all the other plants just kind of sit around. He's leaning so much to that one side. I almost want to put a support in there, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm just going to stand him up against the wall in a certain way and turn him in a way where hopefully the petioles will eventually turn toward the sun again and kind of upright him a bit. So you can't currently see, but I will show you before the end of the video just how much space that clears up, tying him up and taming him, and how it allows me to situate the other plants around him. This is me deciding how I want to arrange them now that all of them that was in his section are going back. I took one of my planters. These type of planters are good for like strings of things or Tradescantia, but I'm going to use it as a plant stand. And I'm debating on whether I want to put my bird of paradise on it to elevate it or my Thai constellation. I want to see which one is taller because I think whichever one is taller, I'm actually going to put on the pedestal so that way the other one can sit down in front of it and neither one is blocking the other one's leaves. They're about the same height. I think the bird of paradise might got it by like 1/4 of an inch. So I decided the bird of paradise is going on the pedestal. And then the Thai constellation can sit down in front of it. And it was a good design choice just because, again, that bird of paradise leaves will get the sun it needs and that Thai constellation won't block it out. You'll see at the end of the video. Now give me a second to rearrange all of these guys that we already dealt with. Now I gotta grab the smaller guys. That's what I'm doing, grabbing the smaller guys that are hovered around the big guys. Now this is my Calathea orbifolia. Calathea have decided they will not grow for me in this house unless they are in leca. I'm checking the roots. And while she does not look like much right now, homegirl was down to 1 leaf. She's another comeback king or queen. While she was getting used to the leca, she had about 3 leaves. They all died off but one, and I was like, oh, this is a fail. Then I started seeing a lot of new leaves. Made me very happy. Thought I was going to have to give up on growing orbifolias, and I think they're so beautiful. It's just an empty pot I had back there. I originally had the Thai constellation sitting in because although I have these vases, these glass vases out here, I like to give them stability by setting them into a pot. Hopefully the kitties won't knock them over and smash glass all over the ground. So I'm double checking to make sure I get all of the smaller guys that are around this next big guy before I hoist them up. And I think I have. So here he goes. I usually will tie him up as well, and I'm debating on whether or not I need to. But I eventually decided, yeah. Just because when I come to sit down in my chair sometimes I have to worry about sitting on one of his leaves just because of the way he's spread out. So I'm going to tie him up as well. Now with this petal right here, I was confused because I'm like, what happened to that guy? Looks like something was just snapped off of it. Again, by either one of the grandbabies or the kitties. So I went on and got that out of there. Got another one of my zips. These are zip ties that aren't like, these are plant zip ties. They're not like your typical zip ties where once you put it on, you have to cut it off. These guys, it's hard to explain how they work, but if you get them, you'll see. Where you gotta, you put them on, you kind of turn the part you're pulling through to the side, and once you upright it, it locks in place. But whenever you want to remove it, it's pretty easy to take back off. Even once I gather them, I don't ever want their leaves to just be all super bunched up together. So I gather them in a way where I can still pull leaves out and have them, looking like a somewhat nice display. A lot of people might think they look a little more impressive without being tied up, but honey, I like things nice, neat, and easy. I don't want to have to worry about sitting on one of these leaves every time I come sit in my chair. And just that quick, he's all good. Pop that new leaf coming in and out so it doesn't get caught up in that bundle. He might need a drink. Everybody else is still nice and moist, but I'll tell you, he's one of my thirsty guys. And I don't mind it as long as he keeps putting out these beautiful leaves. Just taking time to arrange these leaves in the way that I like. And now that I'm done with him, this is what he looks like. Again, I know for these spreaders, to see them spread is impressive, but for right now in this space, I just need them a little more tame. They're still gorgeous no matter what, but a little more manageable. See, I'll sit these glass containers inside of these pots just like this. Ugh, spiderweb. Just to give them a little more support and stability. And hopefully the kitties won't be able to knock it over and smash the glass. However, by taming that solemn and that blizzard, it created some space over there for me to move at least one or two of the ones from the other side that I feel like jut out too much from that side over into that area over there. So my chocolate empress is going to be one. That one leaf, I don't know what its issue is, but it's coming off. Now, if you're somebody who's watched my previous videos and you're used to seeing my chocolate empress, she's much taller than this and fuller. However, because just like when my other plants do it, she was so high above the pole, and I'm not someone who wants to extend moss poles. I'll use them mostly for support. Some I use to allow the plant to grow roots into, but this is not one of them. This one's pole is solely for its support. Take off that leaf. I hate to have to cut this girl just because if you see that redness at the end, it's almost like she drips blood, honestly. It's like this violet color. This purplish violet reddish color that leaks from her whenever you cut her. But I had cut her earlier today, her top off, and that top cutting is going to get rooted up. I'm currently rooting it in Mecca. And she now can fit over here on this side, right next to this blizzard, since the blizzard isn't spreading out so much. That way her leaves still get more than enough light, but I'll have to worry about the blizzard leaves taking up all the light. I just keep checking and twisting her until I feel as though her leaves are in the prime position. Looking to see if there's anything else I want to put over there. Decisions. Checking over my snowdrift. Just because, believe it or not, this guy does and looks so much better for some reason during the winter. And with this summer, or spring should I say, it's not summer yet, it's decided to go straggly on me, but I'm thinking it's just a matter of it getting acclimated to being out here for the summer, which happens with a lot of them. A lot of them, when you first get them outside for the summer, you'll see some die off, you'll see some weirdness out of them just as they acclimate to being outside in that environment. But after a while, by the end of summer, trust me, all of these are so full and lush, and they usually throw a temper tantrum when I take them back in for the winter. Even in this straggly form, she's still a beautiful plant. I found a nice spot over there to put her, sitting kind of off the ground and halfway between two of the other pots over there, and it was such a perfect space for her. Fit like a glove. I think she'll like it better over there. Those plants against that wall there get that nice bright sunlight from being outside, but the sun doesn't touch their leaves back there because of the roof of the porch. Those ones on the other side by the railing, I'm pretty sure the sun is touching their leaves at some point in the day. And the one alocasia I have over there is evidence of that, but you'll see that later. And enters one of my problem childs. This little guy is one of the reasons why probably those birds of paradise petioles were twisted or bent in the first place. And when this guy wants to be in your lap, he's not taking no for an answer. I'm fussing at him about my bird of paradise. I don't know if it was him or his brother. Since he forcing me to take a break, let me go ahead and take a little sippy sip. I need a break anyway after picking up that blizzard, especially because the next two I pick up are big guys. Just stilling myself and getting my mind right to pick them up. Gotta get down, little guy. I gotta get to this next one. He's so determined, though. I don't know why I thought I was gonna be able to just one hand grab that guy. My domino piece, Lily. Now, she is one of my OGs, just like my Monster Deliciosa. She's still rocking and rolling with me. Still puts out big, beautiful leaves, and when she's out here, she's constantly flowering. I had to move her back from my stand-in Barina grow light in the house because I honestly feel like when they flower, like, and they throw out so many flowers, it kind of kills off some of the leaves. But she only has a few in here right now, so I won't cut them out because sometimes I will cut them out. I'm going to leave them. I'm just going to clean up any of her dead matter. I'm telling him to get out of my stuff. I have some liquid fertilizer and a few other things over on that table next to me, and he was being a little ornery. Don't believe it or not, this girl's already tied up, so she's already tamed down. You can see that tie around her base down there. She's another one. If I don't tie her up and tame her, she is pretty bushy without the ties. And it's a large base commitment. So I keep her compact by keeping her a little tied up. He is so determined to be in my lap. Anytime you see me grabbing at their scoop and it look like I'm swiping at the air, it's spider webs. She needed a good leaf cleanup and flower cleanup. Some of those flowers are spent in there looking dead. Well, not looking, being dead. So I'm trying to get all that out of her. There she is in her full glory, all cleaned up. I'm checking to see just how many flowers she got going in here so far. I think I saw 3 or 4. But as much as people say these are low light plants, you keep her in low light if you want to. And she gonna look just as raggedy and scraggly. This baby loves. Look at him all in my face. Jesus. And my girl likes highlight. And she is a thirsty, thirsty thing. Another one of my big guys. This is one of the heaviest ones. And it's because of the plant combined with the pot, man. Took me a minute to get him out. That's my Aglaonema Silver Bay. And there's one side of him is just as green and lush. I don't know what's going on with these dead leaves on the other side. Maybe they weren't getting enough light, or I had them smashed up against the wall too much or something. But that's where all the yellow leaves are, on the other side. And this dude's right back in my lap. He just said, nope, I'm going to be here. Work around me. Double checking to make sure I got anything that was dead on out of there. Now, this is another one. When it sits inside with that Barina grow light, like right in front of it, it just throws out flower after flower after flower after flower. And right about here was when I decided I was going to take a break. Went on and gave him some attention that he had been wanting.
Oh, your brother? It's okay. What? Where you been? What you been doing? Hmm? Leave that bird. Leave that bird alone so I can her. Where you been getting all dirty? You are dirty. Your brother dirty. Is he dirty?
Break time is over. Gotta get back to work. I'd like to get this finished sometime today. Go ahead and put Big Silver Baby back. She just so heavy. I decided to take her out of her pot and see if there was some excess water down in there weighing her down. And while it was some excess water in there, it wasn't that much to account for that weight. That pot is just super daggone heavy. From now on, I'm just moving them this way separately.
It was stuff in the air.
My Imperial Red is doing just fine. I'm checking her soil, seeing if I got anything down in there. But look how wobbly she is. I would not give this plant like a stake or support, but what I think I need to do, because she's so wobbly, is unpot her, put her down deeper in the pot, and then just pot her back up. But I will not be doing that today. No sir, no ma'am. And this is my painted lady. She is all over the place. But she was kind of all over the place when I first bought her. Maybe not this far spread, but she was spread pretty far. I haven't had her a long time, but so I would say she was rather newer. And I say that because I had a painted lady before. She wasn't good. She just wasn't good. She came in big and bushy, kept putting out these little tiny miniature leaves. All of the bigger leaves fell off, and then all I could get from her was these little tiny miniature leaves. So I was like, I don't know what's going on with this girl's genes, and I gave up. I mean, and I had stuck in there for a good long time, but I gave up. And I bought this new one, like, I don't know how many months ago. But she has not done that to me. She has not decided to lose all of her initial leaves and then put out tiny miniature pinprick leaves. She's doing good. She's just growing pretty tall. And I'm almost certain I'm going to have to uppot her soon, even though I don't feel like it. But some of her roots is sitting on top of the soil even. So I'm not sure. And don't think I'm crazy. I'm not talking to myself. One of the kids came home and she got to talking and I let her. Now I'm going to get to my schismatoglottis. This guy, at one point I had him nice and bushy and growing well in the house. And when summer, well, spring, I keep saying summer, when spring came and everyone came outside, I thought he might benefit from the light outside just because he was growing nicely on the shelf he was on, but he was kind of outgrowing it. And he's taking to coming out here kind of hard. I'm gonna clean up any dead leaves I see on him, and I'm gonna leave him out here and trust the process like I do with most of them. By the end of summer, they will love it outside and throw whole entire tantrums when I gotta bring them in for the winter. So I'm just going to take out anything that's completely dead, and I'm gonna cut a lot of the brown off of some of these leaves and allow them, although they may be ugly afterwards, to stay and synthesize for the plant. It was a lot of cleanup this guy needed, so I'll speed this up for you guys so you don't have to suffer through this like I did. Now, this was the plant that needed the most work of everybody, and this is what he looks like after. It's still a little sad sight, but we'll see. If I feel like he's not acclimating out here well, I'm going to go ahead and take him back in the house and get him back to where he needs to be. Next up is my shell ginger. This is another big guy. And he looks a little wild and crazy. But it's because I do have him tied up at the bottom as well. And some of these newer leaves have decided to grow pretty long. So we'll see by the end of summer what he looks like. Right now it looks kind of crazy just because those newer ones are so much longer than the ones he came out here with, but we'll see. He usually needs a little more cleanup too, just because that guy's is very dramatic about his watering. He's thirsty, and if you don't water him, you're getting browning. You are definitely getting some browning. So I'm grabbing my OG snake plant. He didn't need much. He had this one leaf that was brown at the tip. I'm going to assume the sun probably touched that leaf when he first came out and he hadn't been acclimated just yet. Now, for some reason, this little snake plant pup just slid right on up out the dirt. Now, he didn't have much roots on him. I'm assuming maybe at some point he had more roots. Maybe I overwatered it or something and he lost them. But I'm just making a hole down in a pot, putting him a little deeper in the soil, and then packing him in. Hopefully he'll grow his little roots back. He had some left, but not a lot. This is me just checking through my little propagations that sit on the table. This was not a propagation. This was a little jade plant. And I just can't seem to keep them alive in the house, so I sat it out here thinking it'd have a better chance. And no, so I'm done. I'm completely done. That guy went in the compost bin, and that's the end of an era for me. I will not be buying another jade plant. Now, this is a prickly pear cactus that I bought sometime like 2 winters ago or something, and I decided I was going to get it for the yard and put it out in the yard like last summer, and as you see, it just hasn't made it to the yard yet. I will at some point dig the necessary hole to put this guy in the ground. I'm not in a rush. I'll get around to it when I get around to it. Now it's time for me to get everything back in its place before I do the last thing I need to do today, which is spray everybody down. And I am cracking up at how shiny all these leaves look on this camera, when in person they look so dusty. But it's okay. We're about to get them looking good in person and on camera. This is my Aglaonema Maria. She maintains for me, but I feel like no matter what I do, I'm never going to get her big and bushy like that Silver Bay or like my Red Siam. She just hangs in there. Now that everything is back in its place, I want to do a good sweeping out here. Can't feel comfortable and sit in my peace unless it's a little more organized and clean out here. And I want to go ahead and sweep before I wet this area down to clean the leaves of everybody. Right as I was finishing up my sweeping up and straightening up, kitty number 2 wanted to come and take up some of my attention. At this point, I don't know which of the kids is on the porch talking to me. That's why I don't often do live voice videos, because there's always somebody else around. They're always talking, walking through the camera or something. And there goes the sneeze right after I put him down, because little known fact, I'm actually allergic to cats. I love them. But if too much of their hair gets up in my face, I'ma sneeze like crazy. Eyes gonna be itchy, nose watery, everything. I just keep a ready supply of Benadryl on hand. Now I had pre-prepared some liquid fertilizer for any of my plants that's in leca or just in sphagnum moss, just so I can add nutrients back to their water. If you're at all interested in what this mixture is that I use, it's an AB mixture. Just say something down in the comments and I'll make sure I let you guys know. Taking that liquid fertilizer and adding it to some of my props. taking the time to clean up some of my props because this one right here, the kittens have knocked down multiple times and it's not doing well. It is still alive. It is pushing out new growth, but a lot of this stuff has died off, and it's because I might not get over here to notice that they've knocked it down yet again, and I gotta get all of the liquor balls back in it again and get it rehydrated again. By now, I'm starting to gather my supplies because I'm getting ready to take care of my compost bin that's over off to the side there. Where you saw me keep putting any dead matter, I was taking off the plants. I'm going to cover it with a layer of soil, add some rainwater to it, and then I'll pretty much be done. Continuing on with my cleaning up, I have these apple and clove wipes that I'm taking, and I'm wiping down and cleaning everything that I've used out here today. And then once I put everything away, it'll be time to rinse down the leaves. Could not leave the table laden with pollen. It was such a thick layer on it. It was really dusty and dirty. So I wasn't going to sit right in my spirit until I cleaned that off too. And just in case you were wondering, this is a look at those wipes. Don't it look so much more tame out here now? This is more peaceful to me than having to skirt past and worry about breaking petioles as I come into this area. And now it's time to shine everything up. I know everything looks shiny on camera, but like I said, they all have a serious dusting of pollen on them, and we're going to take care of that right now. Maybe any little bugs that might be eating at any of my leaves. We're going to get that knocked right on out. And here's what everything looks like once it's been wiped down and washed down. Now they will have a shine on them once they dry. But also take notice to how much more tame this area just looks. I know there's a lot of people who like me like a jungle vibe, but I like a controlled jungle vibe. I don't want to have to move petioles out of the way every time I come into the area. I don't want to have to worry about sitting down on a leaf when I go to sit in my little rocking chair. But I love the way everything looks when it's so new looking and clean and shining up. Now this allocation over here is one of the ones I was talking about. Far as being over on this side of the porch, they get direct sun on their leaves. And this guy was not standing for it at first, but you see there's a new little leaf coming in down there. Hopefully it doesn't burn. If I feel like it's still burning, then I'll take it to the other side. And my croton's loving this sun over here. It's finally getting some of its color back. This top cutting from my Shibriana has some sun stressing on it, those pinkish colors. It doesn't seem to mind it too much. Composting bin right there on the table. I got everything with a nice good coating. So I'll show you what it looks like in the morning after it dries. And this is what everything looks like the next day. And it wasn't even in the morning. This was sometime in the evening. But you see everything has a natural shine. It doesn't have that dusting of pollen anymore on anything. That pump sprayer works pretty good for pushing stuff off the leaves, including some pests. And now everybody's left with a natural shine, not an abnormal plastic looking shine, but a natural shine. depending on the type of leaf and the texture. Some, of course, are going to look more glossy than others. That Silver Bay is one of the ones who shine and gloss the most. That and that Chocolate Empress. Like, look at the shine on that. The whole plant, every leaf just looks so shiny now. And my beautiful Domino Peace Lily. This is what I like to see. I like to see her nice and clean, so those gray and yellow variegations come through nice and strong on her leaves. After all, that's why I like her in the first place. But look how pretty that leaf is. She's gorgeous when she's all cleaned up. It's kind of hard to see them and I can't get the camera to focus on them, but do you see that spider? Probably right after I left this area, he is like, let me build my web again. This chick thing came out here and knocked down all my webs. I don't mind as long as it's just one or two in that area, because I know they're catching bugs that I don't want around me. So, and look at this mess. Probably as soon as I got done wiping that table, those kitties walked across it. But that's all for now. See you guys next time.